CQ POTA, CQ Parks on the Air, Kilo Juliet 4, Uniform Lima Zulu, Kilowatt Golf 4, Victor Echo Tango, November 4, Bravo Fox Romeo at US 3616, QRZ.
If you have any experience in ham radio, you've probably heard the word POTA, or Parks on the Air. It's a huge phenomenon in the amateur radio community. But what is it? Did it really start in 2016? And why are more than 500,000 ham radio operators involved today? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Jim N4BFR, the lead instructor at Ham Radio Prep. Almost 10 years ago, the U.S. National Park Service was getting ready to celebrate its 100th anniversary. The ARRL came up with an awesome idea. Let's celebrate ham radio style. Sean Kutzko, KZ9X, and Norm Fasaro, W3IZ, were the point people on the effort. The ARRL and the Park Service identified 483 locations or units across the United States that qualified to be part of the event. These units included all the well-known national parks like Acadia in Maine, to historic and scenic trails like the Pony Express National Historic Trail that runs from Missouri to California. A different kind of long-distance communications. There's also a few joint international locations like Roosevelt Campobello International Park in New Brunswick, Canada. The basic rules were simple. Ham radio operators could go to a park, set up their equipment, make contacts from the park, then submit logs for awards and ham radio bragging rights. This was something that got my attention. I like to travel, so I did some extremes. First, I joined up with my friend Newt, N4EWT, for a trip to Florida. We took a 3-hour boat trip from Key West to Dry Tortugas National Park, an island off the Florida Keys, and we activated it. Activating means setting up radio equipment inside the park boundaries and making contacts. Later that year, he and I made a run to the Northeast, getting Acadia in our logs, Park 0001. Those were my official activations, but I had 2 more unofficial ones. On a cruise to Alaska, I made contacts with my handheld, and I ended up in San Diego's Cabrillo National Park, where I made a cross-border APRS contact with Mexico. I was one of thousands of hams who visited parks for the program in 2016. Of those 480 plus park units, almost 90% had at least one activation. The ARRL reported more than 1 million contacts submitted during the event. This was well timed for the way ham radio was evolving. Radios, and more importantly batteries, were getting smaller and lighter. It's not to say it was the first time hams were getting into the parks, because Field Day, another popular event for portable ham radio operating, has been around since the 1930s. But there were hams who were not satisfied with 1 weekend a year in the parks. Experimenters had already been working with QRP radios to activate mountain summits, for example. But national parks on the air gave people more of an excuse to get outside and be active. Unfortunately, National Parks on the Air was a 1-year event. When New Year's Day 2017 hit, the event was over. So, what's a ham to do? There was a group called Parks on the Air that was around since 2010. But let's introduce you to a group called Worldwide Flora and Fauna. Operating since 2012, it was encouraging hams to operate portable from protected nature areas. They seized the day, and in 2018, a nonprofit was founded in parallel to the Flora and Fauna group to continue as Parks on the Air as we know it today. It was this group that led POTA's expansion. One of the early changes was to cast a wider net of what POTA means. It wasn't just national parks or even US parks. POTA was now for state parks too. Eventually, 90 international partners also came on board. That means tens of thousands of areas can now be activated by hams worldwide. In the United States, POTA is limited to state and federal parks. One of the reasons is coordination. In Georgia, there are 52 state parks, plus federal sites like the Ocmulgee National Park near Macon. Imagine trying to add 20 or 30 more parks in each of the 159 Georgia counties and make any sense of that list. So it's kept to federal and state parks. Every one of those parks is given a number by organizers. As I mentioned earlier, Acadia National Park is US 0001, while Mount Washington State Park is US 2667. Numbers are given in order they're added to the system by volunteer coordinators. Claude AC4SH is the ham who volunteers to coordinate all the parks in the state of Georgia. Sometimes that means coming up with creative solutions to help hams get active. Andy N0APX and I talked to him on the QRM podcast.
And of course, I was the same way starting out. I wanted my local park, the one down the street, to be a POTA entity, but it didn't fit. And so I try to coach them and try to be accommodating, encouraging, and I've had some pretty good fun. I've met a lot of people doing it too.
Sure.
So you mentioned
sorry, Andy. So as big as a city park might be, like there's a big 15-acre park just up the street from me here, and it's nice, and I know ham clubs go up there, but because it's a city park, it's not a state or federal, it does not qualify to be a POTA park, right?
That is correct, sort of, Jim, but I got an interesting example. I had a group from Rome, Georgia. They had a pretty city park like you described, right on the side of the river downtown. They'd like to meet once a week there and do ham radio stuff. And they said, can't we make it a park? You know, initially I want to say no, but I thought about that river is on the Trail of Tears. I said, oh, why not? You got to look around a little bit. It's not just the yellow dots you see on the map. So it turns out, yeah, it's got to be owned by the state or federal. It's got to be operated by them. But there's a lot of overlap that you can read in there too.
So in short, Parks on the Air is a program where ham radio operators set up and operate portably from an international collection of parks. In the US, that includes all state and federal parks. Canada participates too. I found out in 2023 when I activated from Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, the home of Canada's Marconi National Historic Site. I operated just steps from where the first international radio transmission in North America happened. Then I made my way to Newfoundland and operated club station VO1AA at the Signal Hill site, where the first international radio signal was received from Europe on December 12, 1901. CQ Parks on the Air. This is Victor Oscar 1 Alpha Alpha VO1AA calling CQ Parks on the Air from Signal Hill in Newfoundland, calling CQ Parks on the Air from Victor Oscar 1 Alpha Alpha and Victor Echo 4825. This is Victor Oscar 1 Alpha Alpha calling CQ and standing by for a call.
All the way over here.
Oscar Zulu 5 Echo, good morning, 5757 in Park Victor Echo 4825. So I think you get the point. POTA can be a lot of fun and lead to some amazing travel. I've loved making contacts in unique places. But if travel's not your style, just head to your neighborhood state park and activate it as often as you like. Because ultimately, POTA is what you make of it. What we've been talking about so far is mostly about POTA activating. But there's another equally important role, which is POTA hunting or chasing. Back in the National Parks on the Air days, a lot of the focus for awards seemed to be targeted towards activators. Go out to a park, get a certificate. But you need to make contacts with other people. In those National Parks days, those were called chasers, but now they're called hunters. A hunter is simply someone who makes a contact with an activator in a park. So if you're home with your HF radio, you can start POTA hunting right now. There's one more classification to know about, and that's called a park-to-park contact. That's when you're activating one park and talking to someone activating another park. This is what it sounds like. CQ POTA, CQ POTA, CQ Parks on the air. This is November 4, Bravo, Foxtrot, Romeo, N4BFR from US 9799. The Kilo Alpha Lima station? Whiskey 0, Kilo Alpha Lima, Park to Park. Good afternoon. You're 5555 into US 9799. That's me in a Metro Atlanta park making contact with a station in South Dakota. I was using 100 watts and a wire antenna. For most contacts, all you need is a call sign and a signal report as a hunter. Now, many operators who are hunting also include their state, so it might sound like N0WRL, you're 59 in Georgia. For park-to-park contacts, park numbers get added to allow parks to be tracked in the exchange. Over the past 10 years, POTA has become a large part of ham radio for some people, including us here at Ham Radio Prep and the World Radio League. And it's easy to get involved. Any level of amateur radio license can join in on the fun of being a POTA activator or hunter. Now, most Parks on the Air activity is on HF. For technician licensed hams, that means 10 meters for voice or digital, or some limited CW options. General and extra class hams have a big advantage in the bands they can work, which gives them more POTA contact opportunities. And we did say most activity is on HF. If you want to try VHF or satellite POTA, give it a go. Our commitment to you is a continued focus on this extremely fun part of amateur radio. That includes step-by-step instructional video guides on things like picking the optimal equipment, antennas, radios, and batteries for your activation. Getting your logging just right. It's easier than you think to log your POTA contacts and get some cool awards. Plus, actual activations. Park visits in different modes from setup to tear down. We'll use our experts, including Andy, N0APX from the World Radio League, to talk logging, and James, N0WRL, the founder of Ham Radio Prep and the World Radio League, to talk just about anything else. Plus, Ham Radio Prep students and World Radio League users will share their tips and secrets in our videos. You'll hear their real stories from the parks all through the series. For now, we'll wrap it up here. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you get alerted when our next POTA video drops. If you don't see a video on a POTA topic you're curious about, drop us a comment. It could become the next video in the series. I'm Jim N4BFR, 73 from your friends at Ham Radio Prep and World Radio League. If you enjoyed this video, please pay us a visit to hamradioprep.com. We've got license courses to help you get started or upgrade your ham radio license. We cover technician, general, and amateur extra. And once you get licensed, you want to get involved in advanced activities. So check out our courses on POTA, HF operating, emergency communications, and satellites. And a great way to optimize your ham radio experience is at worldradioleague.com. This is a next generation logger where you can keep track of those POTA contacts, make friends in our community, and climb the leaderboard.